Fatima, today is already the 13th day of Ramadan and you said you wanted to fast, so did you fast yet?
No, I really wanted to, but then I was so sick I couldn't.
Oh, it's okay, inshallah. After you feel better, then you can try, right? Okay, so the weather is so nice today. There's nice clouds and a little bit of wind, and it's really pretty, right?
Nice clouds.
SubhanAllah. Yeah.
Okay.
What? What do you mean, okay?
Okay, yeah, I'm enjoying the weather today too. And can you tell me a story, please? A Sahaba story?
Okay, Fatima. Do you know the story of Omar radiallahu anhu? Should I tell you that one?
Yeah.
Okay, but do you know who Omar radiallahu anhu is?
Yeah, he's the second Khalifa of Islam.
Yes, you are right. Okay, let's walk a little bit and I'll tell you the story.
Yes. Yay. So fast.
No, not fast, just slow, enjoy. Okay, so Umar radiallahu anhu, when Islam just started, he wasn't a Muslim at that time. He was a worshipper of the idols, and all those things in Mecca. So when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam started preaching Islam and a lot of people started converting to Islam, Umar radiallahu anhu was getting very frustrated because it was kind of breaking apart the entire Quraysh people, right? Because they used to be all together and always support each other. But after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam started teaching Islam, some people became divided into Muslims and then non-Muslims. So Umar radiallahu anhu didn't like that, and he was really frustrated. And then one time he got so mad that he decided that he wanted to kill Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Did you know that? And then Umar radiallahu anhu, he took his sword and he just walked out like that, right in the open air. Everybody could see he was carrying a sword. And Umar radiallahu anhu was, let me just tell you a little bit about him. He was a very, very strong fighter, and everybody was scared because he was so strong. And also he was one of the few people in that time who knew how to read and write. So Umar radiallahu anhu took his sword and he started walking to the house of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when he was going on the way, one of his friends stopped him, and that friend was already a Muslim at that time, but Umar radiallahu anhu didn't know that. So when the friend saw Umar radiallahu anhu with the sword, he got so worried and scared, like, what are you doing? Where are you going with the sword? So then Umar radiallahu anhu said, I'm so tired of this division and everything, so I'm going to go put an end to this myself and kill Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then the friend got so worried for the Prophet, so he said, why are you gonna go kill the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when you should be worried about your own household? Didn't you know your own sister and her husband converted to Islam? So then Umar radiallahu anhu said, he didn't know that, so he said, what? So then he got so mad and he stormed to the house of his sister and he knocked on the door really hard. And then at that time, Umar radiallahu anhu's sister, do you know what her name was?
No.
Fatima. Her name was Fatima. So she got worried because at that time she was learning Quran with her husband, and they're in the room. So then she was like, oh no, we have to hide. And then they hid the Quran under the bed, and then she opened the door and she was all flustered. So Umar was like, what were you doing? And she was like, nothing, I wasn't doing anything. So Umar radiallahu anhu was like, I heard what you were saying and I heard that you have converted to Islam. So then Fatima was like, then she decided to admit it to him because she didn't want to lie. So she was like, yeah, I did convert to Islam and I'm a follower of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Umar radiallahu anhu got so mad that he slapped her across the face and her lips started bleeding. And Umar radiallahu anhu, even though he's very strong and buff on the outside, he actually had a very soft heart. So that's why when he saw that his sister was bleeding, he felt bad and he felt guilty. So then he was like, okay, let me see what you are reading. So Fatima, she didn't give him the Quran right away. She said, first you have to make wudu. So Umar radiallahu anhu, first he washed himself and he made wudu, and then he took the Quran. It wasn't an actual Quran, of course. At that time it's just like a script or a page that had it had Surah Taha on it. So Umar radiallahu anhu started reading it. And remember I told you he was one of the few ones who can read. during the time. So he was reading it and he was reciting the ayah. So the ayah is, you know, Surah Taha, right?
Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى إلا تذكرة لمن يخشى. And he kept reciting it, and then after he read it, he was like, he started tearing up, and he realized how deep the meaning was, and then he made up his mind to go and convert to Islam at that time. So Omar radiallahu anhu went, and this time he still had his sword, right? Because he didn't take it off. So he went and he knocked really hard on the door of Prophet ﷺ, and at that time everybody else was, all the Muslims were also with him. So Hamza at that time, Hamza is the Prophet's uncle. He looked through the door and he saw that it was Omar radiallahu anhu, and he saw that he was carrying a sword. So, it was another Sahaba who saw that. So they were like, oh no, Omar is here and he's carrying a sword. They were warning the Prophet ﷺ, and Hamza at that time was like, it's okay, let him in. If anything, I will protect the Prophet ﷺ. So then Omar radiallahu anhu came in and he said that, yeah, I'm here to convert to Islam. And then he took the Shahada and he became Muslim at that time. So that's
What a beautiful story.
that's the story of how Omar radiallahu anhu converted to Islam, and it's a very beautiful story, right? Yeah, it's very beautiful. Okay, let's go back now.
Yeah.
What did you learn from the story, Fatima?
That you should never do something against the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Okay, that's a very good lesson that you learned. And what else?
That you should also be kind.
Yeah, good job, Fatima. You learned good lessons. Good job.